It's time for another episode of Rainmaker for Contractors. Interviews and success stories with $1 million plus basement waterproofing and foundation repair owners. Discover how they market and grow their companies in today's economy. Hear directly from the most successful leaders in your industry. With your host and Rainmaker for Contractors owner, Bill Crawford.
Hey, welcome to the Rainmaker for Contractors podcast. So glad you could join us today. Today we have a special guest, George Hedley. He, if you don't know him, is an expert in construction and contractors. He's written, over 10 books. He speaks at a lot of conferences. He's one of his biggest things that I was impressed by is he took a company from ground zero, and within 7 years, it's doing $50 million a year. So George has a lot of experience. George, I'm so glad you could be here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me, Bill.
Absolutely. Hey, we're looking forward to hearing you speak at the Basement Health Conference in January in Las Vegas. So that will be great.
Yeah, we'll try to give them some wisdom, words of wisdom.
You got lots of it.
How to make $1 million? Start with 5.
That's right. Good. Look forward to hearing that. Hey, before we jump into these questions, and I think we have some great ones because these are pressing times for these contractors, but what kind of projects have you been up to? How are you spending your time these days?
Well, back when I was in my 20s, started my construction company, commercial, general contractor, building industrial and office buildings, build lots and lots of buildings. I built it up to about 50 million a year with, 150 employees. And I did that for a long time. And then in 2010, I slowed it down. Economy was in bad shape. And I figured, I'm 60 or whatever I was, 55 or something. Do I really need this stress of the construction world? So along the way, I've been speaking at a lot of conferences, people that hire me to speak at conferences or come into their company. And so I started coaching, consulting, mentoring contractors. So with my background in speaking, I had quite a large database of clients or people who liked me or knew me. And so I started offering coaching services, consulting services. So I created what I call the Biz Builder Blueprint, which is a blueprint for contractors to grow their business and to make money. So I've got the steps, of how to do it. You got to have a vision. You got to have a plan. You got to have a systems and structure and strategy. And you got to know your numbers and marketing and sales, et cetera, et cetera. So I created a step-by-step plan for success. And so over the last, almost 20 years now, I've been coaching contractors full-time since around 2010. I still have some other things. I do a little construction management. I do a little, I own some real estate and I collect rent and do some other things. But my main practice is one-on-one coaching with contractors, or I'll come into their office for a management team session or two, build their business plan, strategic plan, or I'll work with them one-on-one on an issue like profit improvement or sales and marketing or estimating accuracy, whatever their needs are. And then we continue an ongoing. And then I have a ongoing peer group, mastermind peer group program where we meet twice a year as contractors in groups. I have several groups and we meet twice a year around the country, and we share best practices, issues, challenges, get input, and help each other grow their business. So it's a really a lot of fun. I'm really not a pure coach. I'm more of a consultant coach, tell people what they should do, shouldn't do, and then I try to coach them along the way to get them to move to the next level. So that's what.
That's cool. You know what I like? You not only have the experience hands-on, but you have a real ear to the ground because you've been working with these guys. So really look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Along that, what I've learned when I used to just speak, like at World of Concrete or something, or Basement Health, I knew what I knew. Now I've got all these clients I work with. I go, I didn't know that much. Now I see what works and what doesn't work. So now when I talk, I know it works because I see it work. So it's so much better to have clients.
I hear you. No, I hear you. You get everybody's problems. Hey, the biggest issue that I hear by far, which you've heard as well, right? And it's not unique to construction, but It's like, how do we find laborers and then how do we keep them? What advice are you giving to contractors with that issue?
Well, that's a big, you got 6 hours or 8 hours.
I was afraid of that.
How do we find them? First of all, somebody in your company has to be in charge of attracting and hiring. The owner can't do it. He or she is too busy out working, bidding, pricing, managing. Nobody's in charge of hiring in most smaller under 5-10 million contractors, construction company, basement health, whatever it is. Who's in charge? So you've got to assign somebody the task of managing the ads, soliciting resumes or applicants, screening them, not hiring them, but getting them in the door. Once they're in the door, we attack and we hire. And so first step, get somebody in charge of that. If nobody's in charge, nobody's in charge. And then we have to have a simple system, meaning most of the successful companies have a referral program. If I am an employee and I bring in another employee, I get a $500 to $1,000 referral fee.
Nice.
If I don't have that, I have no incentive to invite my best friend to be a member of the team. So we've got to have an ongoing referral program. And we've got to have a regular company meeting every quarter. We need a company meeting where we celebrate the new hires and the victories. And obviously we do training and team building and State of the Union and all that kind of stuff. But part of this celebration has to be, celebrating success, which is new employees. And if you hit the budget and your jobs are going well and you got customer referrals, et cetera, right? But the problem is the smaller companies, they don't have time for meetings. They don't have time. They're too busy. They don't have time for, any team building, or I call it employee enhancement. What are you doing to develop talent and enhance your workplace to make it a great place to work that attracts and retains great people? So see, what happened in the last 3 years in the COVID and the recession or whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
the world changed. All these employees couldn't find work. Now there's too much work. They can leave in 1 minute for $1 an hour, and they're gonna leave if they don't like their boss. The company doesn't treat them well. They don't get vacation. They don't get health care. They're not treated like a human being. They're told what to do all day instead of participate in the future of the business. There's no growth opportunity. There's no promotion from within program. It's just work. And I noticed in your questions to me, you call them laborers. Who wants to be a laborer? I don't want to be a laborer. I want to be a team member. I want to be a basement installation technician. I don't want to be a laborer. Who wants to be a laborer? I go stand on the corner at Home Depot and get a job for more money. So
what do they call coffee makers at Starbucks?
Well, they're
or something.
Sommeliers of coffee or something. I don't know what they are. They're baristas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not getting a wage. I spoke at the Roofing Association a few years ago, and this big group was in the room, and some guy says, "How do we get people?" I said, "Where are you from?" He says, "Like Missouri or Mississippi." I said, "Roofing in Mississippi. That sounds like a great opportunity. It's 180 degrees with 90% humidity." I said, "What do you pay?" He says, "I pay minimum wage." I said, "Do you offer health care?" "No." "Do you offer benefits?" "No." "Do you have paid vacation?" "No." I said, how many of you in this room would want to work for this idiot? Nobody raised their hand.
Sure.
And, it's like you've got to. So here's the other thing: pay. Well, they leave for $1 an hour. Yeah, because they don't want to work for you. You offer nothing. There's no 401k. There's no health insurance. There's no paid vacation, all the things we listed. There's no team meetings. There's no fun. There's no frivolity. It's work. Do it my way or the highway. Well, who wants to be down on your knees in a basement all day? Give me a break. I can work at Home Depot or at Amazon and make 16 to 20 bucks, even McDonald's now, and make 20 bucks an hour. And I get paid vacation, all the same health. I get everything. I get Christmas paid. I get New Year's paid. And if I don't get that at a construction repair company, why would I work here? Even for $2 more, it's not worth it. So the average pay for a carpenter in a good company is 25 to 35 an hour. I don't know what you're paying your basement or repair contractors, waterproofing contractors, but if it's not at least 25 or 30 bucks an hour, I'm out of there. I'll go work for another construction company and make that, and plus get paid vacation and everything. So, I could ramble on this subject forever, but
you hit some great points. Not only did you talk about, you kind of hit my next question.
Yeah.
Not only did you talk about, recruiting, but the keeping them, like you really unpacked the company culture thing.
Right.
It's respect for every individual. It's opportunity for advancement. It's honoring them as human beings, time off, 401k, their future, how they're labeled, laborers. Those are great things. And that's no easy thing for a small business contractor to turn around. They have to think through, what am I offering these guys, right? So you really backed up the truck. I appreciate that. It's good.
It's hard. I know. I was a small business guy, and you think, well, pay them. They're supposed to work as hard as you. Well, they're not you. They're employees.
That's right.
They go home at 3:30 or 4:30 or whatever. They're not going to stay late. They don't want to do more unless they're treated well. If you treat them poor, they're going to do the minimum.
Yeah.
I would say your input equals their output. If your input is disrespectful, screaming and yelling, telling them what to do, not letting them make decisions, not letting them participate in the team decisions, they're going to treat you the same way. They're going to give you the minimum. So I always say, when I walk in my office, I turn on the switch. I'm either a positive, motivational, inspirational coach, or I'm a jerk. And if I'm a jerk, my people aren't going to produce. So I've changed my whole thinking. I'm a coach. I'm a head professional football coach. My job is to motivate the team to want to win. I got to have good plays and good assistant coaches that run the field, run the jobs. My job is to motivate the coaches, make sure we're calling the right plays, and obviously make sure we're getting enough work, selling tickets, right? But my job is not to micromanage these guys and order all the stuff and do everything for them. My job is to empower them to become the best they can be. And that's what the coach does.
Who I think that key, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Your mic's cutting out when I'm talking.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. I interrupted. In my experience of owning a waterproofing company, that key person is actually the foreman. Because I could create all this thing and my production manager can have this great interview and talk about the benefits and the ladder of opportunity and 4 raises in a month or 2, all this stuff. But boy, if that foreman is like, hey, newbie, over here, dig this hole, they're not lasting long, So I appreciate your analogy about being a coach and helping people be their best.
So I'm a hard nose at SOB, son of a builder, that's most entrepreneurs have that personality. And then, you realize it doesn't work after 20 years later, you give up and you say, wait a minute, maybe it's me, right? So it was the problem. And we create a set of core values: respect, dignity, truthful communication, team building, teamwork, positive attitude, whatever your core values are. And we have to respect that and live by it. And if one of your foremen doesn't live within those core values, gonzo, I don't care if they're your best foreman. You can't have that guy running your crew, because your crew's going to leave. There's nothing worse than replacing a crew every 3 weeks or any foreman. So part 2 of that, you kind of alluded to it, jumping ahead, is the buddy system. A new guy comes on your crew, you can't just throw him to the wolves. He's got to have a mentor, buddy, coach, whatever, to bring him along for the first several months until they learn the ropes. They don't even know what to wear the first day or what to say, or, should I go get the tools or should I just sit in the truck and wait? Or, they don't know anything. What time's lunch break?
Yeah.
What do we do with the trash? Do we leave it here on the floor? Do we haul it away? Nobody knows. So somebody has to be their mentor, mentee, buddy, whatever you want to call it,
For sure.
The onboarding is so important. And then we have to create a culture This is a big deal to me. I've got a lot of clients and they always complain they don't have enough foremen. I say, what's your promotion from within program? What's your training program? Do you have a training program? Do you have a supervision training program? What are you doing to develop future leaders? And they all go, nothing. Well, your best people come from your crews. So we've got to have a promotion from within program. And one of my clients out of Denver area, he's a concrete basement build. He's a builder. He builds basements and on these multifamily housing. And he literally has a training. He has a 5:30 a.m. every Wednesday training, 5:30 to 7, whenever they start. And he pays them overtime. They all come in, they train. You know, you get invited to come to the training. It's kind of like an honor. You're a potential leader. Nice. And they're training, you know, how to form up the walls and do it right, and also supervise and lead, and you know, how to run a meeting, and how to motivate people, and how to, you know, meet with customers, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, they're making an effort, and it's really working.
Nice.
Great. So it's so hard to be a business owner. There's like 50 things you're going to do right, and you only have time to get work and build it.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you know, you've been doing this a long time. Do you have like a favorite piece of advice or something that's come back to you many times over years where they say, man, George, a few years ago you said this, and that's really made a huge difference?
Well, I mean, on the subject we're on right now, the more you do, the less you make. The more decisions you make for your people, the more decisions they bring to you to make for them. I mean, it's basically, people want to make decisions. People want to be in charge. People want to be accountable and responsible. The reason they're not is because you don't let them become accountable and responsible. You make all the decisions. You can tell them what to do all day. They just sit and wait. And when you make decisions for your people, they're not accountable or responsible for anything, because you are, because you made the decision. You know, if your foremen aren't accountable to get all the materials they need before they go to the job, and including go to the wholesale house or whatever they have to do, then they're accountable. They're not accountable when they run out of material. If you're telling them where to go tomorrow, they're not accountable to finish the job today because you told them to go there tomorrow. It's like, people want to be accountable. So I don't know if that's number one, but micromanaging and letting go is probably the biggest problem small business owners have. It's just in our personality. I'm one. I don't know about you, Bill, but most of the contractors and business owners that I deal with are born micromanagers. So I have to learn how to not be a micromanager. I have to learn how to be a manager, not a micromanaging control freak. So I just remember my input equals their output, same deal. The more I do them, the less they do for me. The more I do myself, the less money I make. And what happens is I always hold up my valve. I've got my valve. When I shut, what's shutting off your valve? What's shutting off your valve? It's you. The more decisions you make, the more you do yourself, the more you don't let your people make decisions and make mistakes and learn from the mistakes. The more you don't do training, the more is on you, and you just keep shutting that valve down. And you finally get to the point where you can only do what you can do. And then your business is stuck. And people call me when they're stuck. Help! I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm not making enough money. I'm working too many hours. My wife or my husband is screaming at me, well, how come you never come home? You always miss the kids' games. You know, marriage is on the rocks. Why? It's right here, right? It's because I don't let go. I don't trust people. I don't delegate. The big thing I push is time and money. If you want time, you need to spend money. If you want more time and freedom in your life, or you want to be able to go sell more, which you probably should be doing, instead of working more, you need time. Well, how do you get time? You have to hire people. You have to hire people, and you have to let go. That's the key. And if you're not willing to hire people, oh God, it's 50 grand, it's 100 grand. Yeah, it is. But that 50 or 100 grand will make you another million at 30%. So you make 300 grand on 100. You just made 200 grand. It's just like, it's just simple math.
Yeah.
You're afraid. Why are you afraid to let go? What are you afraid to delegate? People are afraid. And so I'm a frustrated psychologist, just like you, Bill. Pain, the pain of making a mistake. What if I hire somebody that don't work out? You just get rid of them and get another one. It's not like, who cares? It's hard. I always joke, you hire 3, you keep 1, right? But
Been there.
it takes time. You got to train them. You got to have a systems in place. You got to have an accountability program. You got to manage them. You got to coach them, mentor them.
That's right.
It's not easy.
A lot of hands. Hey, George, you've written,
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
you've written what, 14 books or something? I see it on your website.
I've written. I've got my main book, which is.
That's the one I wanted to get from you. Like the one book you'd recommend, Get Your Construction Business to Always Make a Profit. That could be found on hardhatpresentations.com.
On Amazon, it's easier.
Go to Amazon.
You get it,
Okay.
and it's the same.
Hedley, Hedley.
Yeah, just type in my name or construction, and it'll pop up. But
All right.
and then I've written. I've written a couple other ones, and then I've gotten a bunch of workbooks that I've created from my workshops.
Yeah.
Put them into workbooks, and then I've got 5-hour courses on my website, Hard Hat Biz School, and I've got 5 video courses, soup to nuts, business plan, marketing, estimating, field management, leadership. So
Nice.
So they're 5 hours long, and each comes with a workbook. So I guess we call those books too.
Hey, in addition to what's that?
Call them whatever you want. All I know is it's passive income, and it just keeps coming.
Hey, and you're helping people in the meantime.
I know.
I can't argue with that. Yeah. Hey, what's outside of the books that you've written and the one that you just mentioned, do you have a favorite book out there?
Well, I got 2. I know you asked me that. So the first one is The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. I don't know. You've heard of that one, Bill?
Of course. Ken Blanchard, I've heard him speak several times.
Ken Blanchard is the 1 Minute Manager. This guy's
an old one, and it's great.
He passed away, but this is the key: letting go and delegating. When somebody brings you, so I've got 2 sayings I use. It's I just did this yesterday. Where'd it go? Here we go. I'm so proud of myself because I solve other people's problems. That's one of my themes. The more problems I solve, the more I get, and the more time I don't have to do my own job, which is grow the business and scale the business. So, I'm creating this sign I'm going to give to all my clients. It's like a 2-sided sign. I haven't finished the prototype yet. Stop solving other people's problems. So that faces you. And on the other side, it says, what's your solution? So, you're sitting across the table from me and I'm going, stop solving the problem. And it's saying, what's your solution? So that's what this book's all about. Bring me a solution. Don't bring me a question.
That's right.
And then there's a lot of really good business books, the E-Myth and, more of a motivational book, and EOS, System Traction. And all. I like this one, Clockwork. It tells you how to build. It's by a guy named Michael. Just type in Clockwork.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's a famous one.
And it's all about systemizing your company.
Yeah.
So it's like clockwork. And so the key is you don't have to tell everybody what to do all day. You got systems. And then my job as the head coach is to manage the systems and make sure they're enforced and used. And so, I imagine the basement contractors, it's a lot of the same. They show up at a guy's house.
Yeah.
And it's the same checklist. So we customer walkthrough checklist. And then we have a startup checklist. And we have a kind of like do this first checklist. This is how we waterproof checklist. This is how we put in the pump and the drains or whatever. So it's a series of how-tos. So it's just they want it like clockwork. So I don't have to be there reminding them all day what to do. And so the crew becomes very proficient at doing the same thing over and over again.
Those are great.
Yeah. And to me, in a repeat business like basement waterproofing repair, it's a lot of the same. If you're a framing contractor or a drywall contractor, every house is different. Every job is different. Every if you're a plumber, every house has got the pipes in a different spot, and high rise, low rise, roof drains, and air conditioning. There's a million things, right? But if you're a masonry contractor, it's like 1 block, 2 block, 3 block. How hard is that, right?
Waterproofing is, sometimes these permits get approved and the water line's supposed to be there and it ends up over there and the jackhammer breaks the water line because the contractor didn't put it in the place. You run into all sorts of weird stuff like that.
I always joke there's only 5,197 things that can go wrong in construction.
That's right.
But if you're in a donut shop, you make your donuts, you sit there and hope to sell them. How hard is that?
That's right. Hey, my favorite, I think my favorite book of all time is the Checklist Manifesto. I know you know that one.
Check out
just real briefly, it's about how the entire world's medical health system was changed through checklist. So this guy proved that if doctors follow a checklist, they'll be more accurate with the procedures, right? And of course, no doctor's going to follow checklists. They've been doing this for years. Well, would you want to have surgery if a doctor just found out that his wife has cancer? No, of course not. So he went through the insurance companies and he talked the insurance companies to give the hospitals discount on their insurance if the doctors followed the checklist. So the doctors had to, and then they started saving lives and procedures were a lot more accurate just because of the checklist. So it's a really cool story.
Well, I help, one of the big things I help guys with is, and gals obviously, is job descriptions. What are the must-dos? So what's the must-do for a foreman? An updated schedule every week, a daily job cost report review, a daily punch list, cleanup list, a daily safety inspection checklist, a tool inventory, material inventory,
sure,
whatever. So those are must-dos. And that's in their job description. Instead of just like, oh, did you forget that? Oh, don't forget that. Go by the Home Depot on the way.
Crazy. Waste a lot of time sending a crew to Home Depot.
Yeah, and the other rule is the foreman never leaves the job ever.
That's right.
And their laborer, or whatever you want to call them, to Home Depot. Well, I can't send the labor. Why not? Don't you think they've ever been there before? They go there on the weekend. It's full of labor. All your employees are over there getting stuff. They know how to buy it.
That's right.
Only you're smart enough to go to Home Depot? Come on. So anyway.
You've worked with a lot of different types of companies, and no doubt certain companies grow quicker than others, right? What kind of characteristics do you see of the companies that are successful and they grow fast?
Well, first of all, you got to know how to do what you're doing. Good systems, good structure. Obviously, you got to have the people to grow. If you don't have the people, you can't grow. I just talked to a guy yesterday, an earthwork contractor. He's been averaging 10 million. He just landed $9 million of work, and he's got to get it in 6 months. Well, he's screwed. He doesn't have the people. He's going, what do I do? I said, well, you better start hiring, man. Anyway, so once you got the company humming along, organized, systemized, checklist people, now to how to grow. So most contractors don't spend enough money on marketing and sales. Maybe they do in the basement world because it's, kind of retails, a lot of residential clients. My organization broke. I had to call a guy, right?
Sure.
You call a guy who sent you the ad or whatever. But in commercial world, most of the guys spend zero on marketing. So the key is I've got to have a push. I've got to have a brand. What do you stand for? And then I've got to have a push. So pick your lane. Is it Facebook? Is it Google? Is it your website? Is it I don't know. That's your expertise, Bill. But you got to have a push, and you got to have a customer target in the market that you go after. So I always say, I want to be an expert. Expert in what? Not waterproofing basement. I want to be an expert in the 10,000 square foot house market, the 50,000, the 15,000. Do I want to go after the high price customers or the cheap customers? Well, I want to be an expert in the high price customers and the high zip codes, high dollar zip codes. So, and I'm not saying blanket, but I'm just saying I got to have a target. What's my target? Who do I want to go after? Who are my best customers? Who doesn't care what it costs? Well, everybody cares, but not really. I don't care. I live in a nice neighborhood and $1 million plus houses around here. All my neighbors, nobody cares. Just who's your gardener? Okay, let's use them. $100, $200, who cares, right? It's like, I just want the best. Now down the street, it's like $5 makes a big deal. So do I want to be the $5 guy or the $300 guy? So I got to have a market. So what are you the expert in? A basement. What kind of basement? What do you do? What else can you do while you're there? And then, so my expertise, what customers do I want to go after? And then what's my attack plan? What's my attack plan? So unfortunately with basement repair, you do it once, you probably don't come back for a while. So how do we get referrals? And then, so I've got to have a plan. And, every industry has a different way to get business. I just spoke at the roofing show, you re-roof your house every 20 years. So it's kind of hard to build a repeat customer base.
Right. That's right. You can get referrals.
I want to get I want to go after the local realtors who are the top guys in the market. Who are the top realtors in your market in the high-end homes? Those are going to they're going to refer you a lot of work. Well, I have to get my fanny out of my office and go to see the realtors. I got to put on my sport coat and my button-down shirt, not my Levi's and mud on my shoes. And I got to go walk in their office and present at their sales meeting, because they all have a sales meeting every week. And somebody comes in for 10 minutes every week and presents why, here's how we fix your basement. All of a sudden you get 25 referrals. So it's not a one-time event. Marketing is not a one-time event, as you know. It's a drip, drip, drip. I always say bug them till they buy or die, right? That's my
That's right.
Quotes. And so we, pick the referral parties that are going to give you the most work. Real estate, structural engineers, sales engineers. I don't know. Depends.
Sure.
Who's going to give you referrals? Now you're still going to need the internet, the Google, the Facebook. But I could be 100% wrong. You're the expert in this.
That's right. They need all the internet marketing that Rainmaker can give them.
I don't know. I'm going to speak out of school. People who are shopping on the internet are looking for cheap, generally.
I don't think so. Not at all. I think it's just too mainstream.
Okay, good. So that's why I say I don't know what I'm talking about there.
No worries. Hey, we've all heard the expression, we're going to be like the 5 people that we hang around most. Mm-hmm. How important do you think it is for contractors to be around other successful contractors?
Well, one thing I did a long time ago, I was active in my church and I got 5 or 6 guys and we're all business owners. And we started having breakfast every Tuesday. Went to the men's group and then breakfast. And that became great because we're all talking about business. Then I joined a golf club and I play golf at the top club in Newport Beach, California, with guys that are 50 millionaires, 10 millionaires. They've all started their own company. These are my buddies. I feel like a pauper in this group, but I fit in. We all fit in, and we learn from each other. And, we learn about how to be successful. And then in the construction world, initially I joined a peer group, but it didn't work out. The facilitator was weak and the group blew up. And so what I do now is I host peer groups. I'm sure there's peer groups in everybody on this podcast town. There's companies that do it, and then there's industry people who host them as well. So I host contractor peer groups. I know the electricians have one. I know the plumbers have one. I know home builders have them. I don't know about basement contractors. They might. If not, there's something similar. I don't think it really matters if you're with other basement, just with other people who do what you do. The residential world, I know the Home Builders Association has peer groups. And so you meet with other business owners on a regular basis, once a quarter, once a month, once every 6 months, and you discuss problems. Our agenda is training, challenges. Everybody goes around the table with an issue or a challenge. We all share best business practices. If there's an issue like hiring, we'll bring in a hiring expert. And we all leave with an accountability checklist of an action plan. And we hold each other accountable. Yeah, a couple of my groups have a lot of earthwork contractors in it. And they actually get on the phone once a month together and share, same deal. They just keep it going. So to me, that is huge. That is huge. If they could, I don't know what's available in the basement world, but if they could get with other peer people. Now, it's not going to be cheap. It's a commitment. It's
Sure.
be, $100. It could run $2,000 a year. It could run $5,000 a year. Some are $10,000 a year, but it's not going to be $100 once a quarter, and because you've got to make an effort. You got to have a facilitator. You got to rent a room,
Oh yeah.
buy lunch, etc.
There's a lot of guys that are charging like 26,000 a year for the top mastermind groups, right?
Yeah, they're all over the map. So
Yeah.
and there's some that are in your city. There's some groups that have citywide peer groups, and they're non-industry specific. But at least you're at a peer group, right?
That's
You're
right.
business, and you're holding you accountable. Now they may not know how to put a pipe in the ground, but they can help you with hiring and banking and leadership and management and accounting and finance and all that. One of my clients just the other day, he says he was trying to get a line of credit. So, I spent an hour or two with him, and he never even thought of going to a new bank. Same with insurance. Somebody called me the other day and told me their liability was 3.5% of their sales. Hey, what are you nuts?
Mm.
Like 1%. Well, my broker. I said, well, fire the guy. The accounting girl went, oh, I can't fire him. He's probably my brother-in-law, but.
Right.
I said,
Cool.
peer groups will help you build a better business.
Absolutely.
I had a problem. I hired the wrong person. What should I do? It'll be, you'll get 10 votes, and they'll all tell you to fire the guy, even though you don't want to, and you're too wimpy to fire him, right?
Right.
To live with somebody than to fire him because of the pain of firing, right?
Mm.
They'll fire the guy, and then they'll come back next meeting, and they'll go, did you fire the guy?
Well,
You're not going to feel very good in the meeting. So it's just that peer pressure, and it's like a fraternity. You become a fraternity.
That's right. Hey man, you've shared some great words of wisdom. Really appreciate it. Any last words of advice for us contractors?
Well, what's your vision? I always start with what's your vision. Where do you want to be in 1, 3, 5 years? Are you currently happy where you're at? If you are, great, you're fine. If you want to get out of your stress, you want to get out of your overworked, underpaid, no freedom, no fun, no investments, no future, and you want to make a difference in your life, in your future, what are you going to do? Where do you want to be in 5 years? If I know where you want to be, I can help you build a plan to get there. And not me, but you can too. But if you don't have any written vision, goals, you're never going to get there. You're just going to keep working. Hoping working hard is going to make you more money. It's not. The more you do, the less you make. I told a guy that 10 times the other day. He just won't let go. I said, okay, well, quit calling me. It's a waste of my time. I like your money, but I don't like you wasting my time.
I love it.
I'd rather play golf than listen to this Billy Aiken, So anyway, so have a vision. And I always start every group with a vision. Where are we headed? What's your, money, growth, freedom? What's your role? Your team, what's it look like? Not all the little stuff like who's doing what, but how many crews do you want? How many hours do you want to work a week? How many weeks off do you want a year? What do you want your net worth to be? What do you want your passive income to be? If you own a bunch of real estate, you can have passive income. Well, if you don't have that as a goal, you'll never go start it, right? You're always waiting for it to get better.
That's right.
So let's get a plan. Anyway, so probably
that's huge. No, that's great. George, you've been awesome. George Hedley, Hard Hat Presentations, speaking at Basement Health Association in Vegas, conferences January 17th through 19th. Hey, George, thanks so much for joining us. It's really priceless and inspirational.
Thanks, Bill. Keep up the good work. If in doubt, don't.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Rainmaker for Contractors podcast, where basement waterproofing and foundation repair business owners and industry experts share marketing and sales information that helps you reach more customers. Please leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and get all of our show notes at rainmakerforcontractors.com/podcast.